Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Jenny if you don't know, and today we're going to be going over how to cram for finals and do it successfully. I know a lot of you guys are approaching finals week or are actually in finals week, and I also know that a lot of college students don't, well, if you're like a really good student, you study ahead of time, but I know a lot of people don't study ahead of time. So this is an efficient way to cram for finals and do it successfully so you get an A. Okay, so my first tip on how to be ready for finals is to organize. You need to first find out when your finals are, what day your finals are, and ask, or your professor will probably tell you, but like every single subject that's going to be on the test. So after you do that, you are going to write it down on your calendar. I use Google Calendar and Notion because I'm like an organized freak, and I write down like the block in which my finals are. So this is my laptop. I use a Macbook Air, by the way. Don't let anyone tell you that engineers can't use MacBooks because it works fine. So I'll show you my Notion because it's a little prettier. But this is basically what I have down. All my finals and the week they're at. Yeah, just like a standard schedule calendar thing so you know how long you have to cram for it. Okay, the next tip is to break down each subject day by day. And so for example, if today is, for instance, Sunday, and your exam is Friday, then you have 6 days, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, to prepare for your entire test. So if there's like 6 subjects on your final, then you have 1 day for each subject, and like it works out perfectly. After you divide all your finals by subject day by day, it gets a lot harder if you're taking like 4 or 5 tests. That's a lot of finals, by the way. Good luck with that. But this year I only had 2 big tests. Yay! So I only had to take 2 like actual finals, like in a lecture hall and stuff like that. But the rest of my classes were project classes, so that's just like having a big project due that you do the entire semester. But I know like last semester I think I had like 6 tests, and that was insane. I don't know how I did that, but okay. So to show you, this is my iPad. This is like kind of artsy, and this is my breakdown of all my tests and what subjects I was studying for each day. For example, on Sunday for my ME 330 class, which has its test at Tuesday at 9 p.m., I am studying lectures 14 to 15, which is polymers, I believe, and homework 10. For this class, actually, their homeworks are really long. There's probably like 15 or 20 questions per thing, so this would probably take up 4 or 5 hours. So, and then also on Sunday, my study goal is for my ME 340 test, which is Friday at 1:30 p.m., which is a long ways away, so I'm not that worried about it. But I am studying today transient response and frequency response, homework 6. So this entire studying for Sunday is probably like 6 to 7 hours, which realistically, it's hard to imagine yourself like putting 6 to 7 hours out of your day to study for a test, but that's why you break it down hour by hour. It's kind of anal, but it gets the job done because you get to like check off what you have studied for, and it works really well. I'll show you guys a sample of my like hour by hour schedule I did for Tuesday, May 2nd, and it looks like a lot at first, but I swear to you, it's not that much. So at 10 a.m. I had my final robot demonstration. I had to wake up at like 9:30 for that. It's for like one of the big project classes at U of I, so that was fun and fresh. Then I scheduled, oh, another good tip, schedule yourself a lunch and a dinner so you know exactly what time you're eating, because we don't skip any meals here because you need food to fuel your brain to study for these tests, okay? So then after my lunch, I have a study block for my 3:30 class, for my materials class, from 1 to 2, and that's just going over my lectures and the lecture notes for that. And then I had my final class for dynamics and mechanical systems at 2 p.m. And then I had work actually from 3 to 8 p.m., which is unfortunate, but actually my car just got towed for $250, so I needed money to pay it off. So that's why I wanted to work during finals week. The things you have to do for money. And then after my workplace, I scheduled a dinner from 8 to 9, and then after that there's a huge block of studying from 9 to 12 a.m. I organized 3 different things to do, which is study the lecture, and then I decided to schedule in redoing all the homeworks for those classes between 10 and 12 a.m. That may seem very intimidating, but trust me, days go by really, really fast when you have things in order. Okay, so those were my organization tips for organizing what subject you're going to study each hour of every day, and that really helps with staying on track and making sure that you're not wasting hours in your day like watching TikTok or whatever. By the way, if you haven't deleted TikTok, I highly recommend that you do. Before you start learning any material, you need to put your phone and all your electronics in do not disturb mode, because the minute you hear a ding, your brain immediately goes to like, oh, who texted me, who called me, blah 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 blah. It doesn't matter. Those people are not important as you finishing your test. Well, maybe answer if it's your mom, but your test is more important. Okay, so moving on to like actually learning the material in your classes. I know it can be intimidating if you skipped all your lectures the entire semester and you have no idea what you're learning in school, and it's only like a week or like even worse, like 3 days until your test. So this is how to learn efficiently. My first tip is don't watch the lecture videos. This may seem not smart considering your teachers like actually teach you the content in the videos, but trust me, if you like missed out on all the lectures of the entire classes and you're watching like you have to watch 26 1-hour long videos to relearn the material, it's not a good way to put your time, because that takes 260 hours of your studying blocks and you don't have time for that. I know a lot of you might be confused when I say don't watch any lecture videos for your class if you haven't like attended lecture at all. Last semester I attended I think 2 classes, the first class and the last class for my entire heat transfer, and honestly the only reason I didn't attend lecture was because I hated the professor. He teaches in a very old school manner and it's hard to follow, and he's the type of professor that like reads off the slides and like I fall asleep. What I did is I YouTubed videos from this professor at Caltech, and he teaches the same subject, and I just 2x'd all the videos that I needed help on for the finals, and I did really well. I passed the class. I thought I was gonna get an F. Okay, my second tip for learning the material is to rewrite your professor's lecture notes on like a separate piece of paper. So for example, my materials class has like 52 lecture slides, and there's no point in just reading through them and like trying to memorize the information, because you're not going to memorize it. Because for this test specifically, I have I think 7 different lectures, each 50 slides long, and there's just no way you can memorize all that, right? So what I did is I rewrote the notes. I rewrote her notes and my notes that I wrote during her lecture, and I put them all on one piece of paper. And I think this is just a nice way to summarize what you've learned and to like refresh your mind, as well as like relearn it again, because when you're reading something, I feel like it just doesn't it doesn't click as well as like writing it down and actually like looking at electron configurations, stuff like that. So I highly recommend. I did that for all my subjects, so I have like endless sheets of paper for all my subjects for my materials class. And I found that really helped me when I was taking the test, because I feel like I like remember what I write down really well, especially if it's on a piece of paper. I feel like when I take notes on my iPad, like I feel like I don't remember as well for some reason, so it's really important for me to transcribe it onto a piece of paper. My third and final tip for learning material in your classes is to do the homeworks and the quizzes. Like redo the questions for the homeworks and the quizzes. I think it's really important to do, especially while in engineering, to know how to do the problems you're going to be asked, because usually, honestly, the test questions are like a variation of the homework and quizzes, and they just use like different numbers or whatever, so it's really easy to understand the final questions if you know all the homework and all the quizzes. And I think you should do them without the solutions in front of your face. So just turn over the answer key for a hot second and just write down all the homework, blah, 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 blah. Use your notes to figure out the homework assignments. I think that's also really important. So you can like write down on your single-sided piece of paper the important equations you use to do the homework. I just want to reiterate that even though finals week can be really stressful and really taxing, it's important to go to bed. You cannot do an all-nighter. Like, there's no point in doing an all-nighter. I haven't done an all-nighter since high school. Every single time I've done an all-nighter, I regretted it every single time. And you know why? Your brain freezes and you just won't be able to learn anything when you're trying to cram. So it's really important for you guys to sleep during finals week, at least 6 hours per day. I know it's the recommended 8, but like, if you want to do good on your test, you gotta subtract a little bit from your sleep schedule. And also eating at least 3 meals every day, maybe 2 if you're not an eater, but eating fuels your brain as well. So don't forget to do those things first before you worry about all your studying and your school stuff, because you need a good baseline to build off of. You know, I just thought of another tip. I think it's really important for you guys to find an environment where your brain studies the best and where you learn the best. For me personally, I need to be in a pitch quiet room with a nice big table with like a cute little lamp to learn at my best. Another tip for learning is to take study breaks. This is really, really important, because I think this is scientifically proven, but when you learn a lot at once, it's hard to retain what you've learned like the next day unless you take breaks in between. So like, if you study for like 6 hours on end, you're not going to retain all the information in your brain, and it's all just going to slip out, and that's not what we want. So to take breaks, you can just like walk around wherever you are, walk in nature. Walking in nature really, really helps. Just like do a lap around your quad. Not a running lap. I don't like running, but but like do a nice walking lap around your campus. You can get coffee or matcha. I'm really into matcha nowadays. You can have a nice cup of tea. You should probably take a break like every hour or so. I think works best for me personally. That's usually the time when I finish like 1 or 2 lectures, and it just works out perfectly, so I don't like stop in the middle of the lecture. That's like my least favorite thing, like leaving something unfinished. So since this is cramming for finals, I think if you really don't have any time to learn all the material from your class by redoing your notes and doing the homeworks and stuff like that, I think it's more important to focus on like how your ideas connect with each other. Usually at the end, a lot of the times, our concepts in class are related to what we learn later in the year. So focus on like how this subject relates to this subject rather than focusing on them separately, if that makes sense. Because when you learn like how things connect, I think it's easier for you to understand how to apply it. And usually that's what tests are, is like applying the knowledge you've learned to a different problem or scenario. So it's not as important to memorize like every single like equation and number that goes into solving this one problem, when in reality that's not going to be the same problem you're tested on. So to put it simply, like, don't memorize the problem, but memorize how to solve the problem. Here's some video clips of me studying the other night at Granger Library. It's like the engineering library at U of I, and like there's these really, really nice big tables, and I study very, very well there. I study there for the entire day basically. But find what works well for you, and that is where you will learn best. My video for today. I hope everyone does well in their finals. I know it's a very stressful week, but you all will do well, even if you haven't attended any lectures for the entire semester. Honestly, you don't need to in college. All you need is YouTube, your notes, and learning how to cram efficiently. Thanks for watching, everyone. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I hope everyone has a nice week. Bye.